So we are beginning with chemistry today, and our chapter here is periodic table. It's a very interesting chapter, and half of this chapter you've studied in class ninth. So that was the history of chemistry, how the periodic table came about, and everything was explained in detail in class ninth. But still, we'll have a little introduction before we go ahead. So we know that elements are basically pure substances made up of one kind of atoms, and atoms are the basic unit of all matters. And there are, many different kinds of atoms known to mankind and present around us. So they all have different unique properties, and they all form different compounds with unique and more variety of properties. So in order to understand this kind of elements or atoms present around us in our surroundings or in the universe, we need to group them together. We need to arrange them in a way that the study of them becomes simpler. So the first guy who started this work of arranging or grouping the elements was Dobrynin. 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 Yes, Dobrynin. Dobrynin grouped the elements in the group of three, which is known as triads. We studied about the triads in class ninth. In the triads, Dobrynin arranged the elements in such a way that the atomic mass of the middle element was the average of the atomic mass of the first and the third element. Also, the properties of the middle element were average of the properties of the first and third elements. But he could not be successful with this method for long. He could only make three or four triads. Then came Newland. He observed that when elements are arranged in the increasing order of their atomic mass, every eighth element beginning from any element resembles the first element in its physical and chemical property. Every eighth element beginning from any element resembles the first element in its physical and chemical property, and this was known as Newland's law of octaves. These group of eight elements were known as called as octaves, but he could not find the similarity in properties after some particular elements, and his method also failed. But out of these all, the most successful scientist was Dmitry Mendeleev from Russia, a Russian chemist. He gave first periodic table. He arranged the elements then known in the form of a table which had rows and columns, which were known as groups and periods. And his basis of arranging the elements in this particular periodic table were that the properties of elements are periodic functions of their atomic masses. So he also arranged then known elements in this periodic table in the increasing order of their atomic masses, and there were 63 elements known at that time. He arranged them in the table which had vertical columns groups or horizontal rows periods. Right, he predicted the existence of those elements which were yet to be discovered. So that was, I think, one of the most important achievements of Mendeleev's periodic table. But this method could not explain the position of certain elements. So what he did was he placed some heavy elements before some light elements, and he could not explain why the positions of such elements are according to him in his table. And Also, rare earth metals and isotopes, they were not given any space in his periodic table. But then came Henry Moseley. Henry Moseley put forward the modern periodic table, and the scientist after Henry Moseley made some minor changes, and the modern periodic table was fully developed. And Henry Moseley did a very path-breaking thing by stating that the physical and chemical properties of the elements are periodic functions of their atomic number. So what Henry Moseley did was to arrange the elements in increasing order of the atomic numbers, not the atomic masses. See, the problem with Dobrynin, Newland, Mendeleev was that atomic number was not discovered because electrons were not discovered at their time. When they did the research only on the basis of atomic mass. But when Henry Moseley put forward the modern periodic table, he knew, and it was well known, that electrons are integral part which determine the chemical properties of an element, integral part of an atom, right? And if you know the number of electrons, then you can very well define how an atom behaves. So the behavior, the properties of element, they are not dependent on atomic masses, but they are dependent on atomic numbers. And when the elements are arranged in the increasing order of their atomic numbers, the physical and chemical properties of these elements, they are repeated periodically at regular intervals of periods. Okay, so this was basically Henry Moseley's very significant discovery which changed the chemistry forever. Later there was one more scientist, Neil Bohr, or Niels Bohr. In some books it is Niels Bohr, actually it is Niels Bohr. He gave extended form of the table known as long form of modern periodic table. So as I told you, some minor changes were made in modern periodic table, or extended form of modern periodic table was completely established. A tabular arrangement of elements. Now this is the first definition you should note down. A tabular arrangement of elements in groups, vertical columns, and periods, horizontal rows, highlighting the regular trends in properties of elements is called a periodic table. So what is periodic table? Periodic table is a tabular arrangement of elements in groups and periods. Groups are vertical columns and periods are horizontal rows, and they highlight regular trends in properties of elements. So what are the salient features of the modern periodic table? Okay. So modern periodic table, I'll show you first. I'll show you the periodic table. See, this is how it looks like. Let me zoom out and show you. Can I rotate this? I think I should be able to rotate it. Hey, let me check. I think I should be. No, I think I can't rotate. So I'm sure you have this particular table in your textbook. So I don't know which textbooks you are following. You're following Viraf Dalal or Selena, but I would always recommend to follow Selena. This is Selena textbook by Selena Publication, Concise Chemistry, and it has very nice information, very nicely presented. If you even if you're following Viraf Dalal, doesn't matter. But I'm going to give you homework from this particular textbook because it has got a lot of scope, and I think it's very nice for you to understand the concept. And there is very less of concept in chemistry, but whatever there is, it's very important, right? So this is your long form of periodic table. It has horizontal rows. Now since it is, I cannot rotate this. Let me check it again. Okay, so we have our long form of modern periodic table, and as you can see, there are color codes which are given here for active metals, heavy metals, metalloids, non-metal, halogens, and inert gases. And it has this horizontal rows which are periods. These are actually the names of vertical columns, which are the groups, but the number of rows are given over here. If you see, these are the number of rows, right? So it has got 7 rows and it has got 18 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 18. These are all the columns of the periodic table. Vertical columns, horizontal rows and vertical columns. Elements with atomic number 110 and above have been reported but not fully authenticated and named. As of 2005, the table contains 116 chemical elements whose discoveries have been confirmed. 94 are found naturally on Earth and rest are synthetic elements, or you can say uh, constructed in chemical laboratory, right? So as you can see, this is a long form of periodic table, and it has got some representative elements which are there in the group 1 and 2, some transition elements, D block, group 3 to 12, representative elements again, P block, group 13 to 17, and noble gases in group 18, right? So the periodic table which we are going to focus on is period 1 to 3, period 1, 2, 3, and group 1, 2, 13 to 18. So you will be amazed that this whole periodic table is absolutely not necessary for us in this particular class, in class 10th. We are just focusing on period 1 to 3, group 1 2 and group 13 to 18. We are not concerned about group 3 to group 12 because those are transition elements and which we are not going to study right now. We are going to focus on representative elements, normal elements, and we are going to understand the properties of periodic table with the help of the properties of these representative elements. That is one very important thing that you should know. All right, let's go ahead. Okay, let's study the periodic table in detail. So group 1 is the first vertical row, sorry, first vertical column. Vertical uh, uh, lines are always columns, okay, and horizontal lines are rows. So the first vertical column is group 1. So what is group 1? Basically, group 1 is a group of alkali metals. It is a group of alkali metals. They are known so because they form strong alkalis with water. Let's see where is group 1. So group 1 has, I'll not talk about hydrogen because hydrogen is a non-metal. Apart from hydrogen, see why hydrogen is kept here, that's a very controversial thing, and it's an exception, you can say, and it was also a topic in the chapter hydrogen of class 9, that what is the position of hydrogen in periodic table. It is not fixed. Sometime it is kept in group 1a, sometime in 7a, group 1, or group 17, but since it has many properties which resembles with the properties of metals, it is kept in group 1a because its valency is also 1 plus. But apart from hydrogen, if you look at lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium, these all groups, these all elements are in group 1 and they are known as alkali metals. Second group is alkaline earth metals because they form weaker alkalis with water as compared to group 1 elements. So the second group has got beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium. I will not talk about lanthanum and actinium because they are the part of lanthanide and actinide series, which is basically extension of transition elements. So they come under group 2, but they are not part of alkaline earth metals. Okay. See, now I told you that we are going to study only up to group 3. So why I'm giving you information about potassium and calcium and rubidium, strontium? Because these all are having a similar trend of properties. So they are not very different from the other elements of you can say period 1, 2, 3, and that's why it is always better to include them in our discussions. Okay, so I will tell you which all elements I'm going to include in my discussion and which all elements I'm going to just you can say ignore. So group 2 is done, alkaline earth metals. Group 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. They are known as transition elements. And what is the speciality of transition elements? They have their two outermost shell incomplete. So in representative elements of group 1 and 2, only one outermost shell is incomplete. But transition elements, that is group 3 to group 12, two outermost shell of their atoms are incomplete. We are not going to study about them, so we can ignore them straight away. Let's come to group 13, which is known as boron family, because boron is the first member of that group. So where is boron family? Group 13 over here. So in group 13, we generally talk about boron, aluminum, and sometimes gallium. We hardly talk about in our whole course of class 10. We hardly talk about indium or thallium or nutrium or whatever is that. I don't know how to even pronounce that. Okay, so you can just forget about these three. You can focus your attention on boron, aluminum, and gallium from group 13. Group 14 is carbon family, group 15 is nitrogen family, and group 16 is oxygen family and also known as chalcogens, meaning ore forming. Please remember this word. Group 16 elements are known as chalcogens or ore forming. Let's look at this group 14, 15, 16. So the important elements of group 14, 15, 16, which we might consider in our course is carbon, silicon, germanium. We'll not talk about tin rather than in one chapter called metals and non-metals. Other than that, tin is hardly any topic of concern for us. Nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic and antimony, we don't talk about them. See, they are, you can say, metalloids. Uh, but we don't have any properties to study about them. Okay, so we are not talking about them. In group 16, oxygen is very important. Sulfur, selenium, we don't talk about selenium. Okay, so we can ignore that. In group 17, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine we don't talk about. So these group 17 elements are known as halogens. See, group 17 elements form salts. They are salt forming elements and they are known as halogens. Group 18 is also known as a zero group, and the elements of this group are known as noble gases or inert gases. Let me show you group 18. This is group 18. Helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. All are important except the last one, 118. Not very sure about that. But yeah, this is zero group or group 18 elements. They are all inert gases. They do not basically react with other elements because their outermost shells are completely filled. So all these elements which I have highlighted are important to us in our chemistry. Okay, we'll talk about at some point of time and we'll try to understand their properties, but the rest of the elements you can plain simply ignore. So as I told you that only group period 1, 2, 3 are important, but there are some exceptions in period 4, 5, 6 and 7, but they are mostly from the representative elements of group 1 and 2 and group 17 and 18. Rather than that, mostly period 1, 2, 3 covers all of our class 10th syllabus. Okay, so don't worry about the other group. You will say, sir, you didn't teach us about iridium or osmium, or you can say, yeah, lead is sometimes, we talk about lead and many compounds of lead. So lead, mercury, sometimes gold, platinum, and silver for that matter, copper, nickel, cobalt, iron. These are important, okay, but not like individually. We will study about their salts, okay, so that way their compounds are having certain importance. But apart from these few of transition elements, I don't find any particular use, or you can say importance, of the other transition or other elements which I have not talked about. Okay, so don't worry, and just focus on representative or normal elements in our talks. Okay, see, there is a note over here. Okay, before that, we'll just study about this table which we have given over here. Period 1 is the shortest period because there are two elements, hydrogen and helium. Period 2 is a short period. Period 3 is a short period because they have 8 elements each, lithium to neon and sodium to argon. Period 4 is a long period. It has got 18 elements. Period 5 is also a long period. It has also got 18 elements. Potassium to krypton and rubidium to xenon. Period 6 and 7 are longest periods and they have 32 elements each. Cesium to radon and francium to an unpronounceable element UUO, whose existence has not been yet confirmed. All right, so this is basic knowledge about the periods. Okay, lanthanides in group 3 of 6th period. Lanthanides in group 3 of 6th period and actinides of group 3 of 7th period have similar properties because they belong to the same group 3. They are shown at the bottom of the periodic table because they are large in numbers, and if shown in the main body of the periodic table, it will distort its shape. So what are they saying is that period 6 and 7 of group 3 have got this lanthanides and actinides, which are basically they should be put over here in the periodic table. But what will they do is they will make this periodic table look very weird, and the periodic table will completely the shape of the periodic table will completely get distorted. So to save that embarrassment, and to make periodic table look more presentable, the lanthanide and actinide series, which is basically part of period 3, has been shown beneath the actual original periodic table. Okay, the third period are typical elements. Okay, the third period contains sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, and chlorine. They summarize the property of their respective groups and are called typical elements. So we are going to have special focus. Special focus, please. Special focus is on sodium. तो ग्रुप 1 को अगर समझना है तुम्हें तो सोडियम की बात करके समझते हैं. ग्रुप 2 के लिए मैग्नीशियम, ग्रुप 3 के लिए एल्यूमिनियम, ग्रुप 4 के लिए सिलिकॉन, ग्रुप 5 के लिए फॉस्फोरस, ग्रुप 6 के लिए सल्फर एंड ग्रुप 7 के लिए क्लोरीन. ग्रुप 8 या 18 के लिए not argon, not necessary, but these are called typical elements because their example will be given at each time to understand the respective groups. So a period, what does a period signify? Period number. Period number is signified by the number of shells, and group number is determined by the number of electrons present in the outermost shell, that is valence shell. For example, सोडियम का एटॉमिक नंबर 11 है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कॉन्फ़िगरेशन है 281, तो उसके पास कितनी ऑर्बिट्स है 3. इसके लिए उसको थर्ड पीरियड में रखा है, और उसके आउटर मोस्ट शेल में 1 इलेक्ट्रॉन है, इसके लिए उसको ग्रुप 1 में रखा है. मतलब पीरियड नंबर सिग्निफाइज द नंबर ऑफ शेल्स. मैं यहां पे लिख देता हूं तो तुम्हें इजीली याद रहेगा ये. दीज आर बेसिकली पीरियड नंबर which signifies number of shells, and these are group numbers which signifies group numbers which signifies number of valence इलेक्ट्रॉन्स, नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स प्रेजेंट इन द आउटर मोस्ट शेल। तो अगर मैं तुम्हें पूछूं कि अगर चलो एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं फॉस्फोरस का। फॉस्फोरस में कितने शेल्स हैं? 3 शेल्स। व्हाई? बिकॉज इट इज इन पीरियड 3। एंड फॉस्फोरस के आउटर मोस्ट शेल में कितने इलेक्ट्रॉन्स है? अच्छा, तो यहां पे तुम बोलोगे सर ये तो 15th ग्रुप में है। 15th ग्रुप का जो यूनिट प्लेस है, यूनिट प्लेस वो क्या है? 5। तो फॉस्फोरस के आउटर मोस्ट शेल में कितने इलेक्ट्रॉन्स है? 5। ठीक है, तो अगर ग्रुप नंबर 2 डिजिट का है तो यू विल लुक एट द यूनिट्स प्लेस। यूनिट प्लेस में जो नंबर है दैट विल बी द नंबर ऑफ वैलेंस इलेक्ट्रॉन प्रेजेंट इन द आउटर मोस्ट शेल ऑफ द एलिमेंट प्रेजेंट इन दैट पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप एंड द पीरियड विच इट बिलोंग्स टू। जैसे क्लोरीन 3rd पीरियड को बिलोंग करता है तो उसके पास 3 शेल है, और वो 17th ग्रुप को बिलोंग करता है तो उसके पास आउटर मोस्ट शेल में 7 इलेक्ट्रॉन्स है। तो ये तुम्हें याद रहना चाहिए। Cool. So let's talk about periodicity. What is periodicity? And you need to note this down. The properties that reappear at regular intervals or in which there is gradual variation, that is increase or decrease at regular intervals, are called periodic properties, and phenomenon is known as periodicity of elements. So जो properties regular intervals पे reappear करती है या फिर जिसमें gradual variation होता है या फिर इंक्रीज या डिक्रीज होता है एट रेगुलर इंटरवल्स, इनको हम पीरियोडिक प्रॉपर्टीज बोलते हैं। और ये फिनोमेना को हम पीरियोडिसिटी ऑफ एलिमेंट्स बोलते हैं। ठीक है, तो पीरियोडिक टेबल में पीरियोडिसिटी इज अ वेरी कॉमन फिनोमेना। पीरियोडिक टेबल में पीरियोडिसिटी इज अ वेरी कॉमन फिनोमेना। पीरियोडिसिटी इज बेसिकली द you can say the phenomena due to which the properties reappear at regular intervals. तो पीरियोडिक टेबल में पीरियोडिसिटी इज कॉमन, पीरियोडिसिटी तुम्हें देखने मिलेगी। ठीक है, कॉज ऑफ पीरियोडिसिटी क्या है, क्यों पीरियोडिसिटी देखने मिलती है? द कॉज ऑफ पीरियोडिसिटी इज द रीअकरेंस ऑफ सिमिलर इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कन्फिग्रेशन। बार बार एक ही टाइप का इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कन्फिग्रेशन रिपीट होता रहता है। सेम नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आउटर मोस्ट शेल में बार बार तुम्हें देखने मिलता है। तो तुम बोलोगे सर कहाँ पे देखने मिलता है? मैं तुम्हें बताता हूँ। मैंने तुम्हें बताया था कि ग्रुप नंबर इज नंबर ऑफ वैलेंस इलेक्ट्रॉन्स, दैट इज नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स प्रेजेंट इन द आउटर मोस्ट शेल। तो ग्रुप 1 में लिथियम, सोडियम, पोटेशियम, रुबिडियम, ये सब में कॉमन क्या है? इनके आउटर मोस्ट शेल में 1 इलेक्ट्रॉन है। मतलब हुआ ना सेम इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कन्फिगरेशन रिपीट, और इसकी वजह से लिथियम, सोडियम, पोटेशियम, रुबिडियम ये सब में सिमिलर प्रॉपर्टीज देखने मिलती है। वेर एज एक अक्रॉस द पीरियड अगर देखोगे, ये तो डाउन द ग्रुप देखा, अक्रॉस अ पीरियड अगर देखोगे तो यू विल सी दैट देयर इज अ ग्रेजुअल वेरिएशन इन द प्रॉपर्टी। वेरिएशन धीरे धीरे दिखता है। मेटल्स एंड नॉन मेटालिक प्रॉपर्टी में सारी प्रॉपर्टी धीरे धीरे चेंज होती है। सो दिस ग्रेजुअल वेरिएशन इज ड्यू टू ग्रेजुअल चेंज इन द structure of their electronic configuration. So in a particular group, what happens is electrons in the outermost orbit remains the same. Outermost orbit में रहने वाले electrons same रहते हैं. So electronic configuration is similar in a particular group. Since chemical properties of elements depend upon the number of electrons in their outermost shell, thus number of elements of the same group have similar properties. ठीक है, पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप में इलेक्ट्रॉन्स हमेशा सेम रहते हैं तो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कन्फिग्रेशन भी सेम रहेगा। तो केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज जो नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स पे डिपेंड करती है दैट रिमेन्स द सेम थ्रू आउट द ग्रुप। ग्रुप 17 का एग्जांपल लेते हैं, सारे हेलोजेंस है, सब में आउटर मोस्ट शेल में 7 इलेक्ट्रॉन्स है। ठीक है, यहाँ पे देखो ये सारे हेलोजेंस को एक टेबल में बताया है वो लोगों ने, फ्लोरीन, क्लोरीन, ब्रोमीन, आयोडीन, एस्टेटाइन, सबके आउटर मोस्ट शेल में देखो कितने इलेक्ट्रॉन्स। ठीक है, तो इन सब की प्रॉपर्टीज सिमिलर है। ठीक है, इनकी प्रॉपर्टीज क्या है अगर तुम्हें बताना है? 6 प्रॉपर्टीज वो लोग ने लिस्ट की है। दे आर ऑल कलर्ड नॉन मेटल्स, दे फॉर्म नेगेटिव आयंस कैरिंग सिंगल चार्ज जैसे कि क्लोराइड आयंस, दे आर वेरी रिएक्टिव एंड आर देयरफॉर फाउंड इन कंबाइंड स्टेट, they are only slightly soluble in water but they dissolve much better in organic solvents like carbon disulfide, chloroform, alcohol, etc. Their melting and boiling points increase regularly moving down the group. They are good oxidizing agents. So these are all the common properties of elements belonging to group 17, which has 7 electrons in their outermost shell. So एक ग्रुप में आने वाले एलिमेंट्स की प्रॉपर्टी हमेशा सेम रहती है ड्यू टू द reoccurrence of the similar electronic configuration. So it is concluded that periodicity is due to the same number of electrons present in the outermost orbit of different elements. Shells, orbits and valency. Orbits क्या होती है? Electrons revolve around the nucleus in certain definite circular paths called orbits or shells. ठीक है? And how do the number of shell change down the group and across a period? So down the group अगर तुम देखोगे number of shells, what do number of shells have in relation with the movement from down the group in a periodic table? So अगर तुम periodic table में देखोगे, ये है हाइड्रोजन, कितने शेल्स होते हैं? 1 शेल. लिथियम 2 शेल्स, सोडियम 3 शेल्स. देखो यहाँ पे जो पीरियड नंबर है वही नंबर ऑफ शेल्स है. पोटेशियम 4 शेल, रुबीडियम 5 शेल्स, सीजियम 6 शेल्स एंड फ्रांसियम 7 शेल्स. तो नंबर ऑफ शेल्स के साथ क्या हुआ? नंबर ऑफ शेल्स डाउन द ग्रुप इंक्रीज बाय 1. ऑलवेज रिमेंबर, on going down, number of shells increase by 1. On moving down the group, number of shells increase by 1. But what happens across the period? On moving left to right in a given period, the number of shell remains the same. एग्जाम्पल दे दूं? एग्जाम्पल वही तुम्हारा थर्ड पीरियड का देखो. सोडियम में कितने शेल्स है? 3. मैग्नीशियम में 3, एल्यूमिनियम में 3, आर्गन में 3, सब में 3 है बिकॉज दे ऑल बिलोंग टू पीरियड 3. सो नंबर ऑफ शेल अक्रॉस द पीरियड remains the same and number of shells down the group increases by 1. तो हमारा जो टेबल है यहाँ पे मैं बनाने जा रहा हूँ. लेट मी सी कि कैसे अच्छे से टेबल बनता है. Okay, so I've made a table over here and I'm going to fill this and I'm going to keep this table in front of us in every lecture of this particular chapter. So the first periodic property is number of shells. Number of shells. So what happens to the number of shells? Down the group, number of shells increases by 1. तुम्हें भी एक ऐसा टेबल बना के रख देना चाहिए तुम्हारी नोटबुक में और उसको लेक्चर देखते साथ ही उसको फिल करते रहना चाहिए मेरे जैसे. ठीक है? एंड अक्रॉस अ पीरियड नंबर ऑफ शेल्स remains the same, does not change. ठीक है? So this was basically your number of shells. That's the first periodic property. Next periodic property is valency. So what is valency? Is the combining capacity of atom of an element or the number of electrons which an atom can donate or accept or share in order to achieve stable electronic configuration. So valency has a unique characteristic once you move across a period and down the group. Let me explain you with the help of periodic table. So hydrogen has a valency of 1 plus. Okay, lithium has a valency of 2 plus. Sodium has a I'm sorry. Lithium also has a valency of 1 plus because the electronic configuration of lithium is 2, 1. So valency is 1 plus. Sodium also 1 plus. Potassium also 1 plus. So as you can see, I'm moving down the group and the valency remains the same, 1 plus. What is the valency of beryllium? 2 plus. Magnesium 2 plus. Calcium 2 plus. Okay, but what if I move across a period? Valency of sodium is 1 plus, magnesium is 2 plus, aluminium's valency is 3 plus, silicon's valency, now I can't say it's 4 plus because it shares electrons. So I'm not going to talk about valency. I'm just going to write 4 over here. Valency of phosphorus is 3 minus because it can accept 3 electrons. Valency of sulfur is 2 minus. Valency of chlorine is 1 minus and valency of argon is 0. So down the group, valency remains the same because the number of electrons in the outermost shell remains the same. ठीक है, सबके पास outermost shell में 1 इलेक्ट्रॉन है तो वो सारे 1 इलेक्ट्रॉन डोनेट करके स्टेबल इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कॉन्फ़िगरेशन को अचीव करेंगे. But if you go across a period, the number of electrons in the outermost shell increases by 1. So valency accordingly change होगी. ठीक है, तो basically अगर मुझे तुम पूछो तो valency should not be the criteria to be filled in the periodic properties. मैं यहाँ पे लिखूंगा number of valence electrons. Number of valence electron में क्या change आता है? Down the group, number of valence electrons remains the same. Down the group, number of valence electron remains the same. And across a period, if you go across a period, the number of valence electrons increases by 1. Okay. And the third thing I would write as a periodic property is valency. Okay, valency is the third property. What happens to the valency down the group? Since the number of valence electron remains the same down the group, valency also remains the same, because valency depends on the number of electrons present in the outermost shell, which remains the same. So valency also remains the same. What happens to the valency across a period? Now across a period, valency basically changes. But how does it change? Let's look at the periodic table and try to understand all over again. Period number 3, please focus here. Valency is 1 plus for sodium, 2 plus for magnesium, 3 plus for aluminum. Till now the valency was increasing. 4 for silicon, it's going to share 4 electrons, so valency is increasing. Now the valency is decreasing. 3 minus, 2 minus, 1 minus. Please understand this minus sign is not integer minus. This is because it accepts electron. That's why this minus sign. Okay, so the valency first increases, then decreases, and finally becomes 0. So that's what I would write in that particular table of the trend of the change in valency. ठीक है, तो valency across a period, which is basically a little tough thing to say. Just a moment. Yeah. Okay, so I made some space over here. So valency across a period first increases, then decreases, and finally, let me put one more space here. Finally becomes 0 with your inert gases and noble gases, right? So valency has a peculiar trend across a period in the periodic table. It first increases up to silicon, then decreases from phosphorus to, in period 3 I'm talking about with the example, first increases up to from sodium to silicon, then decreases from phosphorus to chlorine, and then becomes 0 in argon. And this happens with all the period, not only period 3. Period 3 is typical element, that's why I'm going to take example of period 3 always. So we understood the trend of valency. Okay, and great. So we have completed the first part of the chapter, and the in-text questions, 17 questions are there. I'm going to send you this question as a homework. So I want you to complete it by tomorrow, and maybe day after tomorrow I'm going to give you a new video. So see, generally in my classroom, I would complete the whole chapter in one class. Can you imagine that? Whole chapter in one class. But I'm not going to do that because that's not right. Okay, online you need time to digest and understand, and you need to go through the information again and again, and maybe you have questions, and then you need time to answer or find the answers of the particular questions of the exercise also, and we need to solve doubts and everything. So the whole process will be slowed down. So if your school is maybe, I've heard that your school has announced for the exams. That is, I'm not sure that's very fair or not, but we are not concerned about the school exams, the assessments. We are concerned about right now in this particular situation, which is becoming difficult day by day, as we have heard. um, the government is thinking about dropping the final exams of CBSE, ICSE, university, JEE, NEET. All these exams are going to be cancelled for this year or postponed. They cannot, school cannot force you to come and write exam for this particular assessment. So I will recommend that now you focus on the chapter wise test which I am taking, which is basically going to test you, going to challenge you, going to keep you engaged with the studies. But the final exam which school is talking about, the midterm or assessment exam in July, that is not practical. And I don't know whether how far the school will go to take those exams. So I'm not concerned about those exams. I'm concerned about your concepts here. So if your concepts remain clear, then definitely you can give any exam in the future. So that's what we are working on. We are working on strengthening your concepts, and we are definitely going to do that. So I'll send you this homework today. Watch the video carefully and complete the homework, and I'm sure that you will understand the concept very well. All right. So I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye bye.